Hey guys, Peter here to tell you about the lyrics from Heilung Drif, out August 19th on Season of Mist. This album has 9 tracks, 59 minutes in length, and this is the band's third full-length studio album. They are a folk band with members from Norway, Denmark, and Germany. Now, this is not a concept album, but it's definitely an album that has a theme that permeates across all 9 songs. Think about each and every single song as an individual journey, an individual path, an individual experience. But in this journey, in this path, you're going to find cobblestones that are common across all 9. That's what brings this record together as one. And that's the theme that I'm talking about. The theme that impacts in a positive way how this whole record comes together, still allowing it to have its own individuality from track to track. This is an album that's all about that. It's all about the impact that we have on one another. Even from a cultural point of view, nobody lives in a bubble. All of the cultures around the world, all of the civilizations around the world were defined or redefined by who they interacted with outside of their own borders, outside of their own culture. This record really represents that well, and it showcases that more than any other album that they've released before. They're going outside of their norm, they're going outside of their footprint, their European footprint, to really showcase the impact that all these different cultures have had on one another. Once again, we don't live in a bubble. So what happens somewhere perhaps really far away from you, eventually it finds a way of touching you in a very important way. Maybe not directly, but indirectly, but still defining who you become in the future. And that's how humanity, how civilizations have evolved, have appeared, have disappeared. This album is really about that. It's more about the globalization of the world that we live in, and not just going into one specific area, one specific region, and just looking at how that culture, how that civilization evolved. We all evolved at our own pace. We've all moved, but we all have impacted each other along that evolution, along that movement. Now, as far as the sound is concerned, this record proves that you could create an album that sounds simplistic at times, tribalistic for sure, but very simplistic in terms of the elements that they're using to create sound, to create experience, and still be super layered, super textured. This album has so much to offer sound-wise. It's alive within the sound, within the experience, within the atmosphere that it creates. For example, I love the fact that they include nature sounds into their songs. It helps represent the tracks a lot better. It helps define where they are, gives you a starting point, and it helps you define the finish line. Really important for what the story is all about, for what they're trying to transmit, and putting you in a much different place. Using music to be a lot more than just music, but also create visual effects that you can easily visualize as you're listening to these songs, as you're navigating through these 9 tracks. Very interesting way of putting a record together. Something that they've always done, but I feel like on this album is perhaps a little bit better defined, and they're going a little bit outside of their comfort zone and expanding upon everything that they've done so well up to this point. An album that's super atmospheric, an album that allows you to feel different emotions, feel different perceptions, different perspectives from track to track, but still keeps you grounded along the way. You never lose track of where you are or where you're hoping that you will go with the soundscape on this record. An album that has life in the sound. For example, when you look at the drumming on this record, the drumming is very grounded, it's very earthy. It moves, it's the heartbeat, it's the soul of the album. It allows you to feel the essence of the tracks of each and every single song. It allows you to feel the emotions that are, that are infused into the vocal performance, into the soundscape, into the sonic perspective of each and every single song. I felt like that drumming sound, that simplistic sound, but still very textured, very filled with substance, really helped bring this album to life. It was one of the elements that I hold on to from beginning to end that allowed me to feel a little bit better, to go a little bit deeper into what this album was all about. Not understanding the vocals, not understanding the lyrics, and sometimes not understanding the message. You try to feel the message, and the drum sound on this record allowed me to better feel the message song in and song out. Another outstanding element of this record is without a doubt the vocals. They are an instrument. I know sometimes we talk about records and we say that the vocalist is so phenomenal, that the vocals on that specific album, they are an instrument, and they always are an instrument. But I don't think there's any band out there that uses the vocals as much as an instrument as Heilung does. And on this record, they went beyond what I was expecting, including a few lines here and there, using backing vocals, choirs, using a lot of layers in the vocals, bringing them down a little bit, making them simplistic at times, adding nuances, adding atmospheric vocal elements throughout the tracks in order to enhance the experience. Was a never-evolving organism. The vocals throughout this entire record never stay stagnant. They never follow patterns. They're constantly moving. Every song has its own story. Every song has its own path. And the vocals go exactly hand in hand with that path, with that story. Phenomenal performance from start to finish. You're just taken back by the power, by the strength of a vocal performance throughout an entire record. Even though that in my case, for example, I don't understand exactly what is happening, you still feel the emotion, you still feel the pain, you feel the sorrow, you feel the happiness, you feel the desires, the tonality. We're all human. There are certain elements that you cannot escape, and this album brings that raw material all the way to the forefront. All around, you have to look at this album as a mini-series documentary broken down into 9 episodes. That's the best way that I could describe how it felt to me listening to this record. You can listen to each and every single episode individually, and you're going to get the essence of that story. You're going to get the essence of that journey. Or you can listen to them from start to finish, and then you have the full book open in front of you, and you're able to see perhaps a little bit more than you would otherwise. As far as favorite songs are concerned that are not singles, I want to start off with Urbani. The nature, the animals, the sounds, the atmosphere transport you, take you into a different world. You feel like you are surrounded by nature. You can feel the dirt in your feet. You can step on it. You can feel all the imperfections in it, all those pebbles, the dust. And then when the drumming comes in, when the thumping comes in, you feel it as well. You feel it in your chest, you feel it in your heart, and you feel it on your feet. You can see, you can visualize what's happening. You can see the people around you. You can see a tribe around you, dancing, thumping, singing, preparing, ceremony-like event. Really phenomenal, creating a sound experience that becomes a visual experience at the exact same time. This track is phenomenal from that perspective. Next you have Buslas Bann. The vocals completely drown you. The vocals on this track are really well mixed. You hear them throughout. You hear them in space. You hear them larger than life, really expanding the track. But then you also hear them in parallel. Sometimes they feel like they're coming at you almost like a reverb, almost like an echo, working really well. You're going from this screaming into an abyss, and the voices are just traveling through that empty space to becoming a little bit more boxed in and allowing you to feel like everything is coming a little bit closer to you. It has that sort of essence to it. The drumming on this track is purely a heartbeat. It's the heartbeat of the song, and it's the heartbeat of the story that it tells. It feels very close. It feels very organic. Goes really well with this vocal approach that the overall track has. It allows you to have a sense of movement. It allows you to have a sense of connection, deeply connected with the overall experience of the track and what it offers. Last but not least, Nikkal. This is one of those tracks that you want to listen to it multiple times because it feels so simple and yet feels so complex. It's really a vocal track. There are some sonic elements behind it, but it's really about the vocals. It's about the experience that it gives you, and it's about how it transports you from beginning to end. I don't understand the vocals, I don't understand the lyrics, but it made me feel like I was listening to a child's lullaby, to a nursery rhyme. It had that sort of bliss, it had that sort of beauty, it had that sort of simplicity. The vocals carry you that well all the way through. You feel embraced, you feel like you are at your mother's bosom. It has that sort of nurturing effect, the way the vocals come across from beginning all the way to the end. Really well put together, really well crafted. Welcoming at every single turn, using the vocals as an instrument, but also as a way of making you feel like you're part of it. Phenomenal track, really outstanding track as far as the overall global context of the entire record. This is it. This is Heilung with Drift. out August 19th on Season of Mist. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles. Use the comment section below. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.